The iron-gripped documentary title, The Iron Grip, Chronicles of Asma Logline. In the fictional East African nation of Asma, a tyrannical regime tightens its hold through crippling taxation, brutal enforcement, and a corrupt political elite, while the cries of its citizens for justice fall on deaf ears, met only by the unsettling silence of the Chief Justice. Setting: the Republic of Asma, a fictional East African nation. Visual aesthetic: a stark contrast between the vibrant, dusty landscapes of Asma and the grimy, oppressive urban centers. Use muted color palettes for scenes depicting the regime's control, and richer, more natural tones for moments of quiet defiance or cultural resilience. Handheld camera work for citizen perspectives. Steadier, more formal shots for official government portrayals. Key locations: the slums of Kilunga, a sprawling, overcrowded shantytown on the outskirts of the capital city, characterized by corrugated iron shacks, unpaved roads, open sewers, and a constant hum of struggle and desperate survival. This is where the brunt of the taxation and police brutality is felt. Zawadi City Center, modern, glass-fronted skyscrapers house government ministries and private businesses, largely untouched by the poverty gripping the rest of the nation. Gleaming SUVs navigate wide, tree-lined boulevards, a stark contrast to the unkempt roads leading to the slums. The Ministry of Finance, a formidable, imposing building in its architecture reflecting the regime's power and indifference. The National Police Headquarters, a brutalist concrete structure often seen with police vehicles parked outside. The High Court of Asma, a grand colonial-era building that now stands as a symbol of hollow justice, its halls echoing with the silence of the Chief Justice. Rural villages, remote, agricultural communities where traditional life persists. But even here, the regime's reach is felt through tax collectors and the threat of land seizure. Dust roads, small mud brick homes, and fields of maize or coffee, underground safe houses, community meeting points, discreet, often dilapidated spaces where citizens gather in secret to share information, organize, and find solace. These could be back rooms of small shops, abandoned warehouses, or even disused community centers. Social climate: pervasive fear. Citizens live under a constant cloud of fear. Open criticism of the government is met with swift and brutal retribution. Whispers are common. Loud discussions are rare. Economic despair. High, arbitrary taxes on everything from street vending to farming have crippled the economy. Small businesses are failing, and families struggle to afford basic necessities. Food insecurity is rampant. Information control. State-controlled media broadcasts, propaganda, praising the government's development initiatives, and demonizing any dissent. Independent media is suppressed or heavily censored. Internet access is often unreliable or monitored. Corrosion of trust. Trust in institutions, including the police, judiciary, and even local leaders, has eroded. Citizens are wary of each other, unsure who might be an informant beneath the surface. Despite the oppression, a deep sense of resilience and community spirit persists. Small acts of defiance, underground networks, and shared stories of injustice create a quiet but powerful undercurrent of resistance. Political climate: one-party rule. The National Unity Front holds absolute power. Elections, if they occur, are widely seen as cult of personality. President Jomo Kenyatta is portrayed as the benevolent leader, the father of the nation. Despite his iron-fisted rule, his image is omnipresent on billboards and state media. Rhetoric of development: the regime constantly speaks of progress, modernization, and eradicating poverty, while the reality on the ground contradicts these claims. Infrastructure projects are often vanity projects or fronts for embezzlement. Shadowy power structures beyond the visible government. There are rumored to be powerful, unelected individuals and military figures who exert significant influence, profiting immensely from the regime's corruption. The silent judiciary. The Chief Justice, specifically, is a figure of immense symbolic importance due to their inaction. Their silence is not just passive but active in its impact, signifying the complete collapse of the rule of law. Characters: the grieving mother. Her small street stall was demolished for a beautification project without compensation, and her son was arrested during a protest and never seen again. Represents the direct impact of the regime's policies. The disillusioned teacher. Once a staunch believer in education, he now sees his students' futures being stolen. He secretly teaches them about critical thinking and history that is not in the state curriculum. Represents the quiet defiance. The exiled activist, a former human rights lawyer now living in a neighboring country. She works tirelessly to document abuses and amplify the voices of those still in Asma. Represents the external pressure and hope for international attention. The rank-and-file police officer. Conflicted officer who joined the force for a steady income, but is increasingly disturbed by the brutality he witnesses and is forced to participate in. Represents the internal struggle within the system. The corrupt minister, a smooth-talking official who appears on state television praising the regime while secretly enriching himself and his family. Represents the hypocrisy and brazen corruption. The unseen Chief Justice. Never directly interviewed or shown speaking, his presence is felt through the absence of justice, the inability of citizens to find legal recourse, and the general breakdown of the legal system. His portrait might be seen in the High Court, a silent, judging presence. Sample scene, visual, early morning in the slums of Kilanga. Dust hangs heavy in the air. A woman, Mama Zawadi, in her late 50s, struggles to set up a small makeshift stall with a few vegetables. Her face is etched with exhaustion. Children in tattered clothes play in the dirt nearby. Police sirens wail distantly. Narrator, in one. Dawn breaks not with hope, but with a renewed struggle. For Mama Zawadi, like millions in the sprawling slums of Kilang, the day begins with the same question: how to survive the relentless grip of a regime that extracts everything and gives nothing back. Visual. Quick cuts to a police patrol vehicle driving slowly through the slum, officers with stern faces looking out. Then, a close-up on a small, hand-painted sign on Mama Zavaid's stall. Vegetables, fresh. Below it, another, almost faded. Tax paid. Then, a shot of a uniformed tax collector, clipboard in hand, approaching another vendor, aggressively. Narrator, the government of President Kenyatta promises prosperity, but its true currency is fear. High taxes, levied on every meager transaction, choke the life out of small businesses and those who cannot pay. Narrator, the arm of the law, once a symbol of protection, has become an instrument of oppression. Police brutality is not an anomaly in Asma. It is policy. Visual. Transition to the gleaming towers of Zawadi city center. A black tinted SUV glides past. Inside, Honorable Minister Endelovu, impeccably dressed, sips coffee, a faint, complacent smile on his face. Narrator. Meanwhile, in the gilded cages of Zawadi city, the architects of this suffering speak a different language. They preach unity, development, and progress. Visual. Minister Endelovu, on a large state television screen, addressing a crowd, his hand extended in a gesture of magnanimity. The background is a new, unfinished highway project. Minister Endelovu, My fellow Asmarians, we are building a new future, a future of prosperity, of dignity for all our citizens. We are eradicating corruption. We are investing in our people. Visual. Cut back to Mama Zawadi, who has stopped setting up her store, her gaze fixed on the distant, modern buildings of the city. Her expression is a mixture of weariness and quiet defiance. Narrator. But dignity remains a luxury in Asma. And justice. Visual. Pan slowly across the imposing facade of the High Court of Asma. The building looks grand, but also silent, almost lifeless. No people entering or leaving. The camera focuses on a large, ornate door, closed. Narrator. Justice in the Republic of Asma has a name. Chief Justice Ilyas Kabora is his silence. A silence that screams louder than any protest, echoing through the broken lives of a nation held tight in an iron grip. Sound. The distant wail of police sirens fades into an uneasy silence. The only sound is the ambient noise of the slum. Distant chatter, a crying child, the rustle of wind.